for Donald Trump. Ryan actually tweeted, and this is the quote, "I will be voting for Donald Trump this fall. I'm confident he will help turn the House GOP's agenda into laws." Will this be the push Trump needs to unite the party behind him? Joining me now is Jessica Tarlov, Steve Rogers, and Mike Serrano. Steve, let me start with you because you are so affiliated with the Trump campaign. It's an endorsement, but why wasn't there a press conference and Donald Trump and Mr. Ryan standing together to say, I endorse this man for president?
You know, that might come down the road. I think the objective now is to unite the party, as Donald Trump promised that he said he would do this, and he's doing it. I expect that coming down the road. I think right now they want to get a lot of other people involved in this campaign, and then Ryan is going to come out with the future president of the United States, Donald Trump.
Jessica, was this a bitter pill for Ryan to swallow? I mean,
totally.
He tweeted this. Where was the
Donald
fanfare?
Trump lives on Twitter, so that was kind.
That does
I guess
make sense.
It's speaking to him in his own language. You know, I think that you're correct insofar as that this is a major step towards uniting the party for Donald Trump. I think that Paul Ryan did this because he didn't want to be the guy in such a position of power to essentially say, I prefer Hillary Clinton to Donald Trump, and I don't believe that he does.
I don't think Paul Ryan prefers Hillary.
One thing I'd like
to not say that, because that's what it indicates. If you're not going to vote for Donald Trump, if you're not going to get behind him, it is essentially a vote for Hillary Clinton.
One thing we have to keep in mind, that the GOP, the establishment, have surrendered. Donald Trump has won. He's taken down 18 other candidates. He's going to take down Hillary Clinton. Reality has finally set in, and this is why Paul Ryan has come out.
He's bringing Mark Serrano. I mean, is this a surrender from the establishment, or is this more of what happens naturally in a campaign, that the party unites around the front runner?
Yeah, it's both. I mean, the answer is the establishment lost many weeks ago, and they are, joining with the front runner now. Look, Paul Ryan has boarded the train, but as far as I'm concerned, he's sitting in the caboose, okay? Because Donald Trump was far more gracious in accepting this endorsement than Paul Ryan was in delivering it. And what's really important here, Adam, is Paul Ryan still talks about Donald Trump helping the House pass their agenda into law. Au contraire, Mr. Speaker, in November, if Donald Trump wins, it will be the House helping Trump pass his agenda.
Well, let me ask you again, Steve. The Trump supporters, do they really care about a Paul Ryan endorsement? They're ready to win the presidency with or without Mr. Ryan.
Well, that's absolutely correct. But I would say that we have to care. Trump supporters now have to care about everyone, because it's not just uniting the GOP now, it's uniting the country. And this is what Donald Trump's going to do. He's showing his diplomacy. He's showing his ability to negotiate. Yes, Donald Trump is going to unite this country.
I can't wait to see that.
Are you telling me that Obama's united the country? There's more racial problems in this country than ever before, correct?
The
military has been decimated because of Obama and Clinton. I could go on and on and on.
I've heard the Donald Trump talking points.
These aren't talking points. I live in these times as you do. I see this and I breathe it. Okay, so we do see a great divide, and now we're going to see a great unifier.
Let me bring in Mark again, because, Mark, I want to ask you, when you look at Ronald Reagan and his 76 campaign and then 1980 campaign, the establishment wasn't so thrilled with him either, or were they?
Oh, no, absolutely not. I mean, it's the reason why he was thwarted in 1976. He came so close to being the nominee. And frankly, as history has shown, I think it probably was better for the country that he was elected in 1980. So absolutely, look, this is how a family squabbles, no problem. But take a look at the dynamics for the general election. We have a nominee in the Republican Party weeks and literally months ahead of the Democrats. Hillary Clinton still has a very big problem in uniting her party far more than Donald Trump.
That's Jessica. He makes a very good point. I mean, the Republicans are uniting, and you guys are still fighting amongst yourselves over, socialist or not.
Factor there, but yes, absolutely. I mean, there's no denying it. I don't think any Democrat would have predicted that this was going to happen. We still have a fracture here, even though she's by far and away the winner here. She's over 3 million votes ahead, around 300 pledged delegates. But Bernie, he goes on, marches on.
She doesn't know what to do about Bernie. That's the problem.
Well,
she has no way to figure that out.
I don't think
he's a malcontent.
I don't think that's really fair, because I think it's actually smart that Hillary Clinton isn't sitting there and saying, get out of here.
Boy, this is great seeing these Democrats
Steve,
go
what's incredible, Steve, what's incredible is that we're sitting here, and Mark is actually a Republican, but what's incredible is that we're sitting here talking about the Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives endorsing the Republican candidate, and yet our discussion has become, why can't a Democratic socialist who's really a socialist and the potential nominee for the Democratic Party get their act together?
Because, as I said before, Donald Trump has united the party, and he's doing very well. And Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, particularly Hillary, has divided the party. And let me add this. The President of the United States, Barack Obama, has helped that division. He's created a big gulf between these two candidates.
That's why his approval rating is over 50% now. I mean, he's doing better than most presidents towards the end of their
amongst
term.
Democrats, not amongst.
That's not
No
gonna-
way.
that's not gonna-
The approval rating.
Nationally.
Look at Gallup.
What country? Russia?
That
Not the
will not
United States.
Wait. So since we are talking about Sanders and we're talking about Clinton, let's talk about the speech that Hillary Clinton gave today, because she never mentioned Bernie Sanders. You know who she mentioned. Take a listen.
Donald Trump's ideas aren't just different. They are dangerously incoherent. They're not even really ideas, just a series of bizarre rants, personal feuds, and outright lies. He is not just unprepared. He is temperamentally unfit to hold an office that requires knowledge, stability, and immense responsibility.
Jessica, I'm going to go to you first on this. And, you know, foreign policy is clearly important, but voters only care about foreign policy, if history is any guide, when there's a national security threat imminent, when people understand that. And right now, that's not the kind of issue that's bringing people to the polls. Does this speech really count for anything?
I think it does. It's a lot of great sound bites for Hillary Clinton. She had wonderful quotes in there. I think dangerously incoherent is a great way to describe Trump's foreign policy. I think that will stick. I think we needed to hear from her on this. You know, everyone says she doesn't interface with the press. She's not out there that much. And she needed to remind people that she has been Secretary of State. But what I will say, and Tom Friedman said this, I think on Meet the Press, that we are one domestic terrorist attack away from a Donald Trump presidency. And while I think the imminent threat right now might not be that high, if something does happen, that does play right into
Republican.
They vote
trust
Republican in a national security
Adam,
election.
Her strategy is based on a false premise. And that false premise is that foreign policy will be a strength for Hillary Clinton in the general election. That's a false premise. It's actually going to be a net negative based on her connection to a failed foreign policy of the Obama administration, including the Iranian deal, including Benghazi, including the Russian reset.
Well, even
she
the delay
failed
on
all
Syria.
along the way.
Let me bring Steve in here, because that whole phrase, dangerously incoherent, I think it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost, he's got crooked Hillary. That resonates. People understand it. Dangerously incoherent doesn't sound like something you can use.
There were other things
she
she
has,
said,
but it's more that liberal gobbledygook.
Yes, it is.
It doesn't speak English.
She has committed dangerously incoherent situations where we are now a weak country. Donald Trump, this is dangerously incoherent, letting Vladimir Putin know that you're going to be speaking to an equal now. Is it dangerously incoherent to say we're going to decapitate ISIS? Is it dangerously incoherent when he says that, hey, NATO, how about sharing the financial burden?
But that's not what
she
he said.
is dangerously
What about Kim
incoherent.
Jong-un saying, okay, that seems like a good endorsement?
Oh,
but
look,
what about that?
Did Donald Trump say that, or did the leader of North Korea say that?
Come on.
Hillary, look, Adam,
You know,
Hillary
I'm going to
Clinton.
give Mark, you get the last word because you're in D.C.
All right. Hillary Clinton, she must have been asleep for the past several months,
Yes,
because she is using the identical attacks against Donald Trump that his opponents in the Republican nomination fight used. It is a failed strategy. I'm delighted she's using it, because it will lose for her just like it did for 16 candidates against him in the nomination fight.
All right. I've got to cut it in right there. But listen, you don't want to